All right, guys. It is Wednesday, and it's time to get down with your girlfriends talking about football. Week 1 is in the books. Welcome. If you are new to our show, please make sure that you like and subscribe. Join us here live on YouTube, or be sure to check us out on audio anywhere you get your podcast. So I am Coach Desi, also a 49er connoisseur, and Beth is in the house. She is our fabulous co-host here, and she is a Buffalo Bill. She's part of Bill's Mafia. Beth, week 1 is in the books, baby. How does it feel?
It was amazing to finally see some football. It did not disappoint. Week 1 brought all the things: injuries, overtime, new rules, penalties, all the things we could ask for. It was amazing. It was fun to be back watching some football. So I'm ready to get into it and talk a little bit more.
Especially watching Josh Allen just Superman into the end zone like usual. So
look, Mr. Overrated can be Mr. Overrated all he wants.
Oh, man. Tanya's in the house. Thank you for joining us, sis. And we got Technics Chick. Hey, what's going down? All right, we got a full show ahead of us because finally we have some content to talk about here. So first, game opener, it was Chiefs-Ravens. We both lost. So we both predicted the Ravens were gonna come back and win that, and not so much. I know that for one, as a football fan, it is beautiful to watch Patrick Mahomes do his thing. As a 49er fan, I hate that for them. I hate that for me, I should say.
Same here in Buffalo.
That's right, you guys, AFC. So I feel like they got better, and that's scary. And then, well, I guess let me catch your thoughts on that, since you're the AFC.
Well, the whole league blames Buffalo. We gave them that draft pick of Xavier Worthy, and we have been hit hard, rightfully so. He had 2 touchdowns. He looked great. He is.
Could you see him? I couldn't see him. He was going so fast I couldn't actually see him. So I mean, sorry.
I would appreciate you not saying that. It was painful. It was painful. Yes. It was very painful to watch. I am hoping that I'm not hoping for bad things to happen. It's going to be a season, and it is amazing how the Chiefs actually looked better than they have in the past. And that is a hard pill to swallow.
I will put this out into the universe, but remember last year when they looked like complete ass, right? And then they turned it around and won the freaking Super Bowl. Maybe it's in reverse. Maybe they're going to start out like hardcore, and then there's a cliff, like we can put that
I hope so. That would be nice. I mean, I don't wish injuries on anybody, but I sure do wish some bad juju in that general direction.
I don't know, because guess what? They got a 7-count felony guy on their team that actually got to play last week. So I'm not sure what kind of bad juju can happen that's actually going to stop them. But sorry, Kingdom.
Also Queen. True.
I love you. Y'all do your thing with your team. We're just hating. So anyway, let's carry on to Friday, to the mud bath, I should say, whatever kind of game that was between the Eagles and Green Bay. That was just slip and slide, and it was muddy, and it was just painful almost to watch.
It's interesting because the field is a hybrid field. So the fact that it was as gross as it was seemed really strange to me. And the fact that most of the players traded out their cleats halfway through at halftime to change things up. I'm not really sure what was going on, because they also stated that was like their best field and they were super proud of it. So I don't know how that all ended up. And unfortunately, Jordan Love paid the price for it.
Yes, he did. And that was awful. It was like the second to last play or something. I fell asleep. I'm going to be complete full disclosure. I'm a busy, hardworking mom. I tried to watch. It was painful to watch. And then I missed the last couple of drives. But we are going to cover that injury later in our segment, that's sports and medicine. So we won't talk too much about his injury at this point. We will save that for later. And then Sunday comes, and I went to a party. There was a friend of mine who was hosting a big celebration to the start of the NFL season. Those are my people. That's how I roll. Had a great time, but they had the TV with like the multi games. They had like 2 TVs.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on any one game, but my takeaways were, what the hell, Atlanta? Like, what the hell? What in the actual hell? Like, how do you pay Kirk Cousins so much money? And like, then anyway, that's my collective thoughts there. Saw Josh Allen, Superman, and actually was like, there he is, Superman, made that comment. And then watched Chicago with I'm like, wow, Caleb Williams didn't do much, but they somehow won that game. I will say, go defense. So that's my takeaways from Sunday early, I should say.
I would agree with you on that. I think the Steelers Atlanta game was nothing to watch. Justin Fields did just enough to beat Atlanta, and Kirk Cousins is not a great poster child for post ACL surgery, or post Achilles surgery. We can say that. I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to do. The offense they stayed in a shotgun formation the entire game. He did not move out of the pocket once or even attempt to move out of the pocket. So I'm not really sure what next week holds. They are not my pick of the week for this week. After that game, originally they were. I really had high hopes. It didn't go that same direction.
Yeah,
I would agree with you on what was the next game that you talked about.
Let's see. What the hell? Then we talked about the Chicago game. Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams, God bless him. Bless his heart is all I can say. My little Southern going on. He did nothing that game, but he's just happy they won.
Yeah. Okay. It's early, guys. I mean, there's a lot of people saying that week 1 is just an added on to, the preseason. It's really like, you can't put all your stock in the first game. People have to iron out the wrinkles. It is what it is. So I'm not going to be too up, too down. The game, and
most of these quarterbacks did not play during preseason. So this truly is their first rodeo this year. So it'll be interesting to see how things transition.
Yeah, I give them a good 4 or 5 weeks to get in to really see what kind of rhythm they can put together. But the game of the week that I had predicted was Sunday night's game, which was a rematch of the Lions and the Rams. And that game did not disappoint. That was a very good game. So good. And so I will also admit, fell asleep at the end of that one. It's Sunday night. What do you guys want from me? It's Sunday night. Girlfriend has to be at work the next day at 6 a.m. So judge me if you want.
I can't even say that I fell asleep during the game. I went to bed. And then my husband stayed up. He gave him the highlights afterwards. What a great game.
I will say I was saving up. I didn't want to be too tired on Monday because Monday Night Football happened. And whoop, whoop, my Niners showed them what's up. I didn't have a doubt in my mind. We have owned Aaron Rodgers since the beginning of time. And so we did the damn thing. And to your point about Kirk Cousins, I actually tweeted very early, I think, into the 49er game. I tweeted out, get Aaron Rodgers on the run. That ankle does not look strong. And I think that maybe you're seeing that. Both of these quarterbacks are older in age. They're coming back from an Achilles. No matter which way they did the Achilles repair, they are not going to be 100%. I have concerns about both of them throughout the season. So if you have them on your fantasy team, make sure you've got some other quarterback that can pull the weight, because this one I think is going to be rough this season. Your thoughts?
I agree. I was not surprised with the lack of mobility that they both had. I think I had concerns about that. I know Aaron Rodgers was convinced that he was going to come back stronger and better. And, again, week 1, who knows what the next couple of weeks hold. He did not show that this week for sure. We'll have to see. And we'll talk more about it later, but the same idea, J.K. Dobbins looked fantastic. And
Yes, I was going to say
it's
that.
amazing what 10 years will do for a player and for a surgery. So,
yes. So, yes, we didn't talk about the Chargers game. I really wanted to talk about that. The return of Jim Harbaugh. I had such high hopes for them that they were just going to come out of the gate and look good. And, you saw some of this, the same traditions that Jim Harbaugh had before being transferred over. And to your point, J.K. Dobbins, I mean, they got Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, both from Baltimore. And holy cow, they both had action in this game. And I was like, did he actually, I didn't draft him in my fantasy league because I was like, Achilles, he's a running back. Do I want to do that? But damn, he took care of business. I think
he did not miss a step at all. He did a great job.
He did great. I think I have, here you go, rushing. He was the third. He had the most yards, the third most yards of any running back in the NFL in week 1. So number 1 was Joe Mixon with 159 yards, Jordan Mason 147, with no CMC, and then J.K. Dobbins was 135. So, I mean, he did the damn thing. He did that coming back from an Achilles tendon repair. So shout out to him. He did great. Tanya's, she drafted him on accident. That's one of those good accidents, girl. Shout out to you. That's one of them good accidents. You know what is not an accident on my fantasy team? I do not have Joe Burrow. Thank God.
Poor Joe Burrow.
I mean, do we feel bad for him? His haircut, like you can't roll into the season with that hair.
I mean, it was like he was bored. He's young still. I mean, I guess he's not that young, but I mean, that was just
dreadful.
I wish good things for Cincinnati. I really do.
I do too. Yeah. I mean, so Joe Burrow, his QBR this week was 86. 86 was his QBR through ESPN stats. Guess who had the highest QBR this week? Sherry. I wish Sherry was here. For all of y'all that listened to us last year, Sherry was our third party of 3, and she was a big Bucs fan. Baker Mayfield with 146.4. Hey. And
what a great week for him.
Yeah, right? Girl, So Technics Chicks got to see. She said, speaking of fantasy, wonder who won or lost their fantasy teams based on Jake Moody. Here, me. Girl, I went against this week. Yeah, she had Jake Moody, and yeah, let's just leave that there. So let's see. Since we were talking about Baker Mayfield, guess what, guys? It is time for. Let me bring up my clip because I edited them all. Boom. Woo-hoo. It's time for Rate the Fit. Yes. If you follow us on Instagram, Girlfriends in Football, we do put up a couple of outfits by guys who are heading to the game. And we ask you guys to rate the fit. Who did it best? And this week, drum roll, please. I don't have a drum roll. So here's the drum roll. This was almost unanimous. But this was who? Right here. Ex-Baltimore Raven.
Oh, no, it's not. You got to show it.
Yep, I got it. Ex-Baltimore Raven, now Pittsburgh Steeler, Patrick Queen. Queen showed up nice and clean for the start of the season, heading to the game on Sunday. So Patrick
show it. You got to show it. It's not showing.
It's not showing?
It's not. It's just got the label, our poster.
Oh, maybe
you got to show him. He looks so good.
Let's see.
So smooth.
Sorry, guys. Technical difficulty. What? Let's see. Here we go.
And I'm real adamant that this gets shown because he looks so good. Yes, thank you.
Yes. And I'm shocked, guys, because I live in Tampa Bay. So Baker Mayfield was one that I put up there. But Baker kind of looked like he was heading to the beach. But he looked good. He looked good. He looked relaxed. And I think that helped him out. But this is Patrick Queen, and I bet Baltimore wishes they still had him. They broke up that fabulous linebacker duo. So congratulations to Patrick Queen, our fit of the week. Thank you, sir. All right. So, Beth, what are you drinking on?
Oh my goodness. I'm sipping tonight because this ended up being a stronger drink than I anticipated. Do you like our logo on my cup? You
Yay!
can't
I
see
can
it
see
really
it. Oh,
well.
speaking of logo, girl, you got to show your.
Oh,
Ooh, look at us. For those of you listening, Beth and I got our merch in, our Girlfriends in Football t-shirts. So we are representing, but we are also talking about our, let's see, cocktail mocktail of the week. So Beth is showing us what looks to be what is
it
called
is
On the Wings of Eagles.
yes, ma'am. It is a very strong drink. I did not anticipate it to be that strong, which is why I'm sipping very slowly, as you all pointed out earlier. It is cognac.
Cognac,
Cognac.
also known
It
as
is
the yak.
the yak. It is whiskey. It is some lemon bitters. It is another aperitif type mix. It is very strong, very hearty. It's a good whiskey drink. It's a good sipping drink. It is definitely not something that you want to drink multiples of. But this was our
It's what
Eagles
you need
drink
to
for
drink.
this
It's
week.
what you need to drink to tolerate Eagles fans. So I think
It
that's
is what you need to drink to tolerate Eagles fans and to watch Atlanta play them this week.
there you go. There you go. And for those of you who are not into alcohol, we also have a mocktail. And so I think that would probably be a little bit lighter if you're looking for something not quite so hearty.
Yes. That
So
is more of a mojito type style, but still green to run with the theme.
awesome. All right. Well, we will show that on our social media as well. So look for that on Instagram. We'll post that later this week. All right. So this is probably our best segment here and what people come to see us for, sports and medicine. Whoop, whoop. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a physician assistant. I've been practicing medicine for almost, I won't say it like that, almost 25 years. And Beth has been a physical therapist for just about the same amount of time. Yes?
I'm younger than you. It's more like 20.
Damn, she threw me under the bus. And Tyler's hard too. All right, Dr. Beth. She's a doctorate of physical therapy. And we were talking earlier about Achilles repairs. We did talk about Achilles tendons repairs last week. That was our big segment. So I think what we were looking forward to this week was seeing how those who had repairs had done this season so far. And I think we already kind of alluded to that. So we're going to jump ahead to, well, I guess the end of that, because I know some of you guys are Niners fans. We are talking about Christian McCaffrey. Last minute was announced that he was not going to play in the Monday night game. Now there's been talks about whether or not he's going to end up on injured reserve. But then I think Coach Kyle Shanahan has come back and said, no, he doesn't look like, they don't think they're going to do that. Which I don't know how much I trust him, because they're the ones who said it was a calf strain in the beginning and now it's Achilles tendonitis. So I take everything with a grain of salt, but it is Achilles tendonitis. I did post something on Twitter earlier today for those of you who may or may not have seen it, because I know one of the questions that I was asked earlier early on a different podcast, or on I think I was on a Twitter space actually, was what is the rate of Achilles tendon ruptures? So I'm just going to read to you what I found on Up to Date, which is what all of us medical professionals look to as the key source for data. And it says Achilles tendinopathy affects competitive and recreational athletes, as well as people who are not active. The incidence of Achilles tendon rupture in the general population is approximately 5 to 10 for every 100,000, but may be higher in some regions and populations, and is increasing overall, which I thought was interesting. Over 80% of ruptures occur during recreational sports. That's talking to all us old heads out there. You can't be just jumping out on the basketball court thinking you can just do your thing and be Michael Jordan. But approximately 10% of patients who actually rupture their Achilles tendon had a pre-existing Achilles tendon problem. So that would be my concern with Christian McCaffrey, as we know that he's got some chronic issues and then has a acute inflammation on top of that. Observational data suggests that competitive athletes have a lifetime incidence of Achilles tendinopathy of 24%, with 18% sustained by athletes younger than 45 years. Tendon rupture occurs in 8.3% of competitive athletes. So that's kind of where we're talking about. Among competitive runners, the lifetime incidence of Achilles tendinopathy may be as high as 40 to 50%. So that's some great data that we have now to talk about Achilles tendon ruptures. We're going to keep that bad juju out there. We had more than enough Achilles tendon ruptures last season. Hopefully we can get through this season with no Achilles tendon ruptures, and especially for my boy Christian McCaffrey, we don't want any of that bad juju. So
and maybe that's why they're keeping him out a little bit longer, in order to kind of mitigate any potential issues, right? Like, let's give him as much time to heal and strengthen and rehab with what he has.
Yeah, I've been saying that my concern is that he, towards the end of last season, was starting to have some calf issues. So this may have been something that was already kind of looming. He had a high production last year. Remember, he was the offensive player of the year. He had an incredible year. So then he goes through his summer and he comes back, and now he's still having some inflammation. So the question in my mind is the chronicity and what does it look like behind the scenes for that long. If it's now he's already had time off, resting it, and now he's already re-inflamed it, I have a lot of concerns this season about what his productivity is going to be. I think I've seen somewhere where they're talking about even it could be up to 4 weeks before he's back in. Even when he comes back in, I doubt he's going to be 100%. I would hope for that, especially with the fact that our backup Mason is doing incredibly well.
I was going to say he's doing well. They don't have to rush back to McCaffrey. Yeah. And I wonder if it turns into more of a shared position than necessarily a starter and a secondary, where he comes in a little bit more isolated on certain plays to see if that mitigates the injury possibility and his ability to maintain throughout the season,
Yeah. So we'll keep everybody up to date on things that we hear and our opinions on that. Next up, we do want to address Jordan Love. Jordan Love's injury was pretty gnarly. I think I tweeted out that I would be shocked if it wasn't an ACL, and I am shocked that it wasn't an ACL. But it ended up being an MCL tear or MCL strain, which there's different levels of strains. I don't think it's, terrible. It's obviously not.
They are saying that it is very well managed. Saying 3 to 6 weeks optimistically. To watch that injury in replay and to fathom the idea that he'll be back playing in 3 weeks just boggles my mind. So I'm hoping they take a little bit longer, give him a little bit of more time to heal. But knees don't belong in that direction. They're not supposed to bend that way. So you had texted to me as well. You said ACL and MCL, all the things, torn, destroyed. So the fact that it was just an MCL sprain is pretty amazing.
Pretty awesome. And I'm just going to throw up a video, a picture of what a knee anatomy looks like, just so that you guys can see where the MCL is. So the MCL here, this is your patella tendon here. And then this is over here on the side. On the side is your medial collateral ligament. That is your MCL. And so this is the inside. So if you're put your legs together, it's where your knees touch, the inside parts. That's your MCL is touching your other MCL if your legs are next to each other. So that is where the injury is for Jordan Love. He had can you see my cursor?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so when you have impact here allows this to gap and cause stress here. So he had it through his tackle, his foot was kind of planted, his knee caved in, and it added a stress here. So again, just like Beth had said, this is the best possible scenario for him out of what it could have been. So good news for you guys that are out there, Packers fans. This could be, not a season-ending injury, thank God. So he'll be back probably in about, like Beth said, 4 to 6 weeks, and we'll keep an eye on that as well. The injury that I've been geeked out to talk about is the Kyle Van Noy injury. Now, he went out and he has been vocal about how upset he was at the medical staff for Kansas City because of how they handled yeah, go ahead. I'll let you, because you shared the article with me, but I'm geeked out. I'll talk about the injury, but let's.
No, it was pretty crazy. Kyle Van Noy had spoken pretty poorly about the medical staff at the training staff at his game because he had a pretty severe injury during a football game that ended up being an orbital fracture. It apparently took a long time for people to come find him, to check on him. And this injury, while for him was not very severe, it could have been, right?
Well,
so
so we'll go into that. If you could tell them how it happened, because you were super sleuthing and figured out how it actually happened.
Well, so God, I need to pull up that article. This is an injury. So the injury is an orbital fracture. So an orbital fracture is the bone around your eyeball cracks, right? So you get a fracture or break either in the bone around your eye or on the bones on the inside. So the outside bones are a little bit more thick and sturdy. The inside bones are much more fragile and can be fractured much more easily. However, in football, you're wearing a helmet. A lot of people are wearing shields. It's really hard to get your orbital bone broken in football. It happens in baseball. It happens in lacrosse. It happens in all these other sports where a ball comes flying at your face and it can crack right on your eye socket. This is known. In football, there's no way to get in there. So we watched the play. I watched the play several times, and he kind of ends up at the bottom of a pile. There, you can't really see what's going on. And then by the time everybody climbs off of him, he is just holding his head on the bottom of the pile. People thought it was a concussion. People thought it was another type of head injury. They could not really figure out what was going on. And what had happened was is that that the way he tackled, his helmet got dislodged, ended up being shoved up higher into his face, and the padding from his helmet meeting with the ground actually caused the impact that was hard enough in order to crack his orbital bone.
That is so wicked, guys. Like, it is so wicked. I'm going to show the picture of
the ground wins every time. The ground is going to win. And it was amazing. It's like, there's no way. Show the picture, because this is not something that normally happens.
So this is crazy. And this is why I geek out, because I spent time in the ER and I've seen my share of orbital fractures. Usually it's like 2 a.m. The guy's coming in from a bar fight and he's got his hand over his eye and his girlfriend's next to him and, he's all amped up. So, I'm sitting there, I'm like, orbital fracture in football? What? So this is what Beth's talking about. This is the rim of your eye where your eye sits. And you've got a couple of areas where you can have a fracture. You can have one kind of up, kind of where the start of your eyebrow is, kind of right in that area, that part of the rim. That's called an orbital rim fracture. And then you can have one where it's kind of where the eye sits a little bit closer to the nose, and that's called a blowout fracture. And then just on the very bottom part of the eye socket, where I guess if you took where the end of your smile would be and go all the way up to your eye, about that area, the middle part of where your eye sits, the floor of where your eye sits, the shelf part, that can fracture. And if you fracture in the orbital floor, you can get a herniation of some important structures of the eye, and you can get what's called entrapment, and it can impair your vision. You can have double vision, you can have impairment of eye movement, you can actually have even bradycardia, which is a low heart rate. I mean, it can be really an emergent situation.
So many things can happen in that
So many
area
things.
between, and if it's not cared for properly, permanent loss of vision, permanent nerve damage, permanent brain damage that can happen because it's not cared for properly and in an appropriate time.
Correct. So that's kind of exactly where I was going with that is this is an emergent situation. It can be an emergent injury. And so if you do not identify that quick enough and time goes on too long, you, like Beth said, there's permanent damage that can be done. So to his point, he's out here and he wasn't taken seriously. So, he was like, that could have been a detriment. It didn't sound like it was an orbital floor fracture, or else he would have ended up having surgery. But he definitely, it could have been that way. They didn't take it seriously. And good for him for putting that out there.
So I think also something to be note is that that was against the Chiefs.
Yes.
Correct. They had been rated like an F by both their staff, their players, and any other team that has used their training staff as the amount of care that they are given, the timeliness of it, and all of that. So he's bringing to light an issue that has been ongoing for their training staff. And I think that's just crazy that the lack of concern, the lack of taking them seriously, if it's not a concussion or you're not bleeding to death, they really take their time. And it's one of those things, like if he had wanted, maybe it wasn't as serious and he wanted to come back, taking a whole quarter to get to him in order to make that decision is unacceptable, right?
Yeah. No, 100%. So and by the way, good job super sleuthing. I didn't know that they were the worst in the NFL for that. Maybe I did hear that somewhere, but isn't that amazing that you can go and win a championship, be Super Bowl champions, and then your training staff is complete, bottom of the rail. So,
Right.
So, we wish you the best, Kyle Van Noy. We hope that you get better soon and heal up fast and get back on that field. So,
and on that note, like contact sports are not supposed to happen for like 40 plus days after an orbital fracture. That was the other thing that I looked up because I was like, well, how soon can he come back? So we're looking at possibly 6 weeks before he returns.
Dependent. So that's dependent on what type of fracture, how fast he heals, if he can have the proper protection. There's he may, it's not baseball, it's not lacrosse, like you said. There is a helmet, maybe.
That's true.
Maybe. So we'll see what that shakes out to look like. All right, so let's go on to our next segment. Who's in the news? Well, I know who's in the news. Tyreek Hill was detained on the way to the game this weekend. And did you see that video?
I did see that video, and I am going to make a comment for next week. I want a sad story and I want a good story because I don't want to talk more about this. I was actually looking, I was like, what good has happened? What good is our football players doing? And so we need to add that in next week.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill did not do anything. Tyreek Hill was speeding. Tyreek Hill was pulled over. Tyreek Hill was manhandled for reasons that none of us can fully understand. You and I cannot fully understand.
100%.
It was a very, very difficult thing to watch. Very difficult thing to understand. And I know the Dolphins have made a very strong stance about it. And it's been interesting to hear that a football team is speaking out about the police that are there to protect, who are there for their games, who are there for all the things, and are speaking so harshly with them. But yeah, Tyreek Hill detained, handcuffed, sitting on the side of the road.
As well as some of his teammates who were trying to be of help. You know, the whole thing was kind of insane. I did watch a press, he was they was interviewed asking about the situation now that some time has gone by. And he did say, you know, after speaking to some family members who are also in law enforcement, he has, you know, he does kind of wish he had some time, you know, was able to go back and maybe make some different decisions. He does admit to, you know, he probably should have just kept his window down, and he did, you know, admit to some things, but he also reiterated that under no circumstances was it, you know, was he to be treated the way that, you know, it escalate to the way that it did. So again, hopefully we can all learn from that, get better, grow from it, and do better. So to your point, Beth, we will come around positive potentially. Also in the news, Tom Brady's debut as a commentator.
Week one, first attempt. He's got some growth to do, but knowing Tom Brady, knowing how hard he works at being good at whatever he is, I foresee better games ahead, despite not wanting to really hear him talk anyway. But I think he'll do better as he goes.
Do you ever watch the show Friends?
Yes.
Do you remember, was it Janice? Oh my God. That is the guttural response that I have by just hearing his voice. So sorry, not sorry. I can't listen to Tom Brady's commentating. I did try to give it the college try. I did try to listen. The minute I heard that knee, I was like, ooh, shutting it down. Just delete, turn it off. But also I'm human, so I don't want to completely roast him, although I wish the roast of Tom Brady had happened after he started commentating, because I think it could have gotten even better than what it was. But to your point, yes, I think that he can bring a lot of value to it. What I was looking for from him was a little bit more insight on quarterback decisions and things like that, which I don't know that we kind of got to. I didn't listen to it.
He was also doing a really boring game. Like, he was commentating a game that wasn't a whole lot going on.
Yeah, but again, I'm not going to, you know, he can't help the way his voice sounds. It's going to be on me. Like, probably someone doesn't like the way my voice sounds right now. So whatever.
It's that nasally New England. That's just what you're going to get.
The kid at school who knew everything and was just like, anyway. So best wishes though, Tom Brady. I hope that you find an illustrious career. I do not love that Greg Olsen isn't available, because I did like Greg Olsen. But good for you, Tom Brady. You earned, all these accolades and opportunities. So hopefully you'll improve, and maybe I'll change my tune one day, but it's not likely. So carry on. Next.
There's plenty of announcers I don't like listening to, so we'll just add him to the list.
I know. All right, so let's talk about games of the week. Beth, Thursday night's game is Bills Dolphins. I need all of the things from you. Talk to me from Bills Mafia side.
I'm real nervous. I'll be honest. I am nervous about this game. Tyreek Hill, Tua, they showed out. They had a good game last week. Buffalo definitely has some holes that need to be fixed with their defense. But I think we're going to win at the end of the day. I need Josh Allen not to run the show. I love him being Superman. I do, but I need the rest of our team to step up and play with him. Josh Allen is why we won last week. And an interesting stat, which blew my mind. He is, hold on, I need to find it because I wrote it down because I was shocked. He has, to date, 55 career rushing touchdowns. Our quarterback has 55 rushing touchdowns. The The only person in Buffalo Bills history who has more rushing touchdowns than Josh Allen is Thurman Thomas.
I was going to say Thurman Thomas.
And I think he had like 65. So Josh Allen is 10 rushing touchdowns away from the leading rushing touchdown scorer for the Bills. So while I would love to see him make that happen, maybe we could take all season to get there, or 2 seasons. Because yes, Thurman Thomas, I love that man. I will say it was nice to have Von Miller back. He looked like his old self. He's not playing a ton. He's in for just certain plays, and I feel like that might be the best way for us to keep him healthy and safe and keeping the team motivated and pushing forward. Greg Rousseau on defense did a great job. He had like 3 sacks, I think, something like that. He had a great game, really motivated everybody. We've just got to watch our safeties, our running game, and just make sure everything else solidifies. We've got a lot of moving parts that are new and young, and it makes me nervous.
All right. Well, it's in Miami. So well, they say
we have won. Listen, we have won the last 3 times against Miami. 3, 4.
I know we were there last year.
Several games.
We went.
We were at the last one.
But see, the temperature in Florida is different in September, and it can be a bit roasty. So I'm just going to throw that out there. That I think who did I hear that from? There was something I was watching where they actually, I think it was like some Netflix show or something where the Dolphins intentionally have their stadium built so that the visiting team is stuck in the heat the whole time. So, I mean, it is an evening game.
It's like 20 degrees. It's like 20 degrees hotter on the visitor side than it is because it's direct sunlight for a 1 o'clock game.
Sherry and I in fact, Sherry, I think, messaged in our group message. Didn't she? So Sherry and I went to a Bucs game in this time of year. It was like the week 1 pregame. It was some nonsense that we went to. And we were like, we're going to die from, being in the sun all day. And we're like, nah, we'll be fine. We'll just drink. Sis, I'm here to tell you, we might have had 1 alcoholic beverage because we were like, no, we are going to end up with IVs if we don't start drinking water. So
that was the problem that happened the last time Buffalo played. It wasn't last year, it was 2 years ago when they played in Miami at the beginning of the season. Like Buffalo fans were falling out left and right because they drank like they were in Buffalo and it was 110 degrees.
Right.
And there was like, I think Buffalo lost that game. I think that's the last time we lost to Miami, but it was a shit show for the fans and for the team. Like it just was, they do not know. We don't understand heat in Buffalo.
Yeah. Well, good luck to you guys. Thursday night game again in Miami, Bills Dolphins. That's always a great game to watch. So hopefully I won't fall asleep on that one. Sunday's games, we got Niners Vikings. So this will be fun just because we're going to go against Sam Darnold, who used to be our QB2. So we'll see how that game goes. I pretty much think that we should get a W. We look really
we should win,
strong.
but Sam Darnold had quite a game this past week. He was a good quarterback this past week.
Listen, I was proud of him. Do good things. I'm here for it, except for when you come back to Niners. I can't not cheer for the Niners. So, and honestly, I'm kind of excited. The Niners looked really good. I mean, it was the Jets. Who knows? But our defense is kind of looking sexy. I ain't gonna lie. Like I was hoping we would get back to that defense that we had a couple years ago, where it's just relentless. And Fred Warner came out flying around. I mean, he looked like he was a fireball just kicked out of a cannon. I mean, it was incredible. And that's usually the energy that Dre Greenlaw brings. And since he's not there, it was incredible to see the energy that Fred Warner was able to provide in spite of. And, we had an incredible secondary that looks good. Our defense was strong. Nick Bosa was out there. I mean, it looked great. So I think we're going to do well. And again, we've proven I think Jordan Mason had 28 carries in this game the first game of the season. So I think he's going to continue to run the rock, and looking for Ayuk to be a little bit more dust off that get the dust off, so to speak, because he looked a little rusty. So Debo also was having a little bit of hard time getting things going. So I think another couple weeks and we're just going to be humming along. It should be fun. Speaking of Jets, they are visiting the Tennessee Titans this week, and I don't know. That could be a big cluster. That could be a snooze fest. I'm not sure. What do you think about Jets Titans?
I think the Titans will win. I do not see Aaron Rodgers pulling it together for another couple of weeks. I do think that he is going to show some of the Aaron Rodgers that we know and that we remember, but I think it's going to take a little bit more time till he's full speed.
Yeah. So here we go. Tanya said it. Our defense is going to make Sam Darnold see ghosts. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. And then Technics Chick said that peanut punch by Fred Warner was beautiful. It was art in motion, sis.
It was.
All right, we're going to keep going along this. We got the Seahawks against the Patriots in Gillette Stadium. We got Browns versus Jags. Any of that sound interesting to you? I'm kind of like, meh.
Browns has too much going on for them right now for them to really settle into a groove. I don't see much happening there.
Is now the best time to talk about what the hell with Watson? Like, can he just, I don't know. What are they going to do about that? They spent so much damn money on this dude, and he is just worth
cut it off
less.
Is that an option?
What are we cutting off, Beth? What are we cutting off?
What do you think we're cutting off? There's only one thing that can fix him right now. It's only one thing that can make things better.
I bet you they're wishing they had receipts so they can turn that prize back in. They do not want such.
It's like every time you turn around, it's every time he turns around. It's like
painful.
Golly,
painful. And I'm so sorry to all of our Cleveland fans because y'all have a killer defense. I mean, Myles Garrett is just a beast. I mean, y'all could really, you're like so close. And I'm tired of you guys.
Nick Chubb is out again for a few more weeks. Like, it's just like bad break after bad break right now.
No, Nick Chubb is thankful that he's even out on the field this year. So I'm coming back from that injury. So, okay, we got Saints, Cowboys. I don't know how exciting that will be, but that's being played in Dallas. Rams, Cardinals. So that's in Arizona. That might be interesting. Bengals, Chiefs.
I could see that one being fun.
You think that? You think so?
I think that would be a fun one to watch.
Yeah.
I think the Cardinals are, especially like when we played the Cardinals just this past week, I'll be honest, they're not in our division. They're not a team that we typically play. I don't pay a ton of attention to them in general. But I was impressed with what I saw when they played Buffalo. So I'd be curious. I'll be curious to see how they do this season.
Agree. Yeah. I think they're definitely up and coming. They are in our division. So I'll be keeping a close eye on them, but I don't think they're going to be too competitive to knock us out of any contention, but I do think they're up and coming. I do see some glimpses there. Bengals, Chiefs in Kansas City. Not if Joe Burrow still got that M&M color hair. So we got Bucks, Lions.
I really want to vote for anybody against the Chiefs, but that one's not happening.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to go their way at all. And I have
sorry, family in Cincinnati.
Well, I'm sure they already know. Like, I have a Cincinnati fan, and they're just like, nah. And I have T. Higgins on my damn fantasy team, so y'all know I'm already busted. My fantasy team's already, we're not going to talk about that. Okay, so Bucks Lions. That's going to be played in the Dome.
What are your thoughts on that game?
This should be good. I wish Sherry popped on for this one.
I know,
because this should be a really good game. Baker Mayfield against Jared Goff at home in Detroit. I don't know. Bucks have had a decent defense over the last couple of years. So I am going to be, and they have like just stout line, like their line, D
Right?
line and offensive line, just big bodies. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I don't even know. This is going to be a 50-50. This could be. Do you think this is one of the games of the week?
I could see that. I think it's going to be a really good game. I'm really excited to see this game.
Agree. Chargers at Panthers, snooze fest.
Poor Carolina. I'm a Buffalo fan, and I'm saying poor Carolina.
I know, right? I've got the Colts playing the Packers without Jordan Love, so that might be a competitive game there too. Raiders, Ravens. That'll be a good, hopeful comeback for the Ravens after losing to the Chiefs in Week 1. Then you have Giants playing Washington Commanders, snooze fest. Steelers, Broncos.
I could see that being good. I'm curious to see how the Steelers run this season. I don't have a lot to say about the Broncos, but I'm curious to see how the Steelers do this season. I think they're going to do pretty well.
Yeah. Bears, Texans. So I love me some D'Amico Ryans. I love the Texans. I just loved watching their season last year. I think they're going to continue. I have CJ Stroud on my fantasy team. And so I'm going to be hopeful for more reason than one that they pull that W out of that one. And then rounding it out, Monday Night Football. Who the hell picked this two teams for Monday Night Football? Falcons, Eagles.
Well, it was when we drafted Kirk Cousins, and we drafted, and then we picked up Penix Jr. for Penix.
Yep.
For our quarterback. So, I mean, I think at the time it was a good idea. Now, not so much. What could go wrong?
Pay a quarterback a lot of money. And, did we not learn anything from Deshaun Watson? I hate comparing.
I mean, I think here's the thing is that, like, we all said it when it happened. Why are we drafting two quarterbacks, lots of money involved, lots of money tied up, no real plan.
And you do that with a guy who is over 40, who is coming back from an Achilles tear. Like, what? For real? Okay. Like,
I know.
I wish I had money that I could throw around like that. And this is going to be played in Philly. So y'all, is anybody staying up for this game who's not a Philly fan or an Atlanta Falcons fan? Anyone? Bueller?
I'll watch the first half like I do most night games.
Listen, when it's bedtime.
Look, I'm staying up for Thursday night. That is all I can promise. Tomorrow night I am staying up. Past that, any night game is halftime.
Guys, we have a drink we can make for Monday Night Football. We've got On the Wings of Eagles. We can have our cocktail mocktail hour.
Which again is strong enough that you will only stay up till halftime anyway. So you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Beth is like I just appreciate your dedication to your segment. You're just
can I tell you? So we've got a local liquor store, Kenny's Bottle Shop, which is attached to our gas station that also has a great wine selection and a great beer selection and pretty much anything you need. He also owns this. Anyway, he owns the whole plaza and he's fabulous. Anybody in Kirkwood in Atlanta knows him. Vic is amazing. And I had asked him for a certain liquor for another drink. And, a few of these drinks have like blue curacao or like Goldschlager or, just random bizarre liquors. And I asked him for something and he's like, is there a demand for that in our neighborhood? Like, I'll get it if there's a demand. And I was like, no. There's no demand. I can find it somewhere else. I literally need it for one drink for this podcast. And he's like, oh, okay, well, you let me know. So he's willing to get me whatever I need. But I was like, there's no need for you to go order a whole case for the one cocktail that I need. So, but we've got people, he's in it. He's going to make sure I get what I need.
All right. So, okay. So we're going to wrap up with, I want to know what was who impressed you the most in week 1? And what are you looking forward to in week 2? And while you're doing that, Tanya is asking for us to show the recipe again of the drink. I think she means the cocktail. Do you want the cocktail or the mocktail, my friend?
Oh, she was the whiskey drinker. She wants
obviously. All right. So we're going to put that up one more time, but also you can find it on our Instagram page later. Probably tomorrow. I'll post this tomorrow. Oops. So there you go. Let me hide there we go. Now you can see it. All right. Do you have any thoughts on who impressed you this week?
No, because you surprised me with this question. I had all kinds of things to say, but that was not one of them.
Okay, I'll help a sister out. I will tell you because for me it's easy.
Who were you impressed with?
I was impressed with Jordan Mason. I think if you were not a Niners fan, I think this was like, where the hell did this guy come from? San Francisco has another running back that can be super productive, right? When Christian McCaffrey had to sit it out, I think a lot of people were just, not expecting much in terms of the running game. But he definitely showed out. Like I said, he was the third highest productive running back in the NFL in week 1. And he did the damn thing. So that is who impressed me, I think, in week 1 the most.
I found it.
Okay.
I'm there. My person. Right. It's a name everybody knows, but still, as long as he's been in the league, Saquon Barkley. I did not anticipate him to have the game that he had. 3 touchdowns. Like, the Giants did not utilize him the way the Eagles are utilized him this week. I was very impressed with how he played this week. He is mine. I gotcha.
All right. All right. So what are you looking forward to this week the most? What do you think? I'll go first again, just because this is in my head. I am waiting for something to happen with the Chargers. I have this feeling that there's some kind of magic that's coming, and maybe it's false hopes because I love Herbert. I think he's just needed some kind of connection and guidance because he's a hell of a pure talent, but he hasn't been as productive as I think people's stock have been put into him. So I am looking forward to an outstanding game from Herbert. And I think that's who I'm cheering for this week, for what I'm looking out for. They're playing the Panthers, so I think this could be the week.
Oh, that would be a good time for him if he's going to have it happen. You know what I would like to see?
What's that?
I would like to see Justin Fields play, not just do enough to get by. I would like to see him play. I want to
show out. You want to see him show out and be like,
I do. I want him to take the job from Russell Wilson. Well, and I want him to do it honestly. Like, I want him to show that he can be a better quarterback.
But not even that. Like, show Chicago. Like, you fools gave up a good product that was already out there. You already had me there, and you shipped me off to the Steelers and brought in Caleb Williams for what? For what? For your defense to score points for you? So I would love for him to show out, not just to overcome, to be QB1 permanently for the Steelers, but also for, to show Chicago what they lost. And great. Strong work, sis. Strong work.
Woo! These last minute questions, like, throw me for a loop. You can't do that to me.
It's the whiskey, girl. It's the whiskey.
Especially halfway through a drink. What are you thinking?
That's when the real truths start coming out.
That's when I'm like, okay, I know football. Hold on, I do.
All right, guys, that's it for us. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you had some laughs. Hopefully you maybe even looked at us sideways a time or two. But thank you again for sharing the hour with us. We're here every Wednesday throughout the entire football season. We look forward to more times of laughter and good times ahead as the football season continues. Thanks so much. We're out. Mwah.
Bye.